Matt, sometimes we start off this podcast with me making fun of you for doing something.
Sometimes?
Yeah, yes, occasionally.
Sometimes?
Occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we could start off today with me saying, I'm proud of you. Just
Damn. Okay. All right. Thank you.
I am
You know
proud.
what? I'm proud of you too,
Yeah.
Level Cap.
Yeah, I'm
You've
proud
been a
of
great
you.
friend all these years. Yeah.
Thanks.
You've just been so kind and nice, and it really warms. Your friendship really means a lot to me. So what were you gonna say?
Really sucking the wind out of my sails on this one, Matt. First of all,
what? I thought we were sharing.
In my defense, I was born in the 80s, okay? And we 80s children express their affection via teasing and light bullying, okay? All right? It's not my fault. This is just what happens.
Wait, I thought you said you appreciated me. Where was this going? What were you going to say?
First of all, I said I was proud of you. I was going to say,
right.
I am proud of you for overtaking me in Arc Raiders. You are now a higher rank than me in Arc Raiders, and just want to say congratulations on that one, Matt.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
The one thing I had.
Have children, so
the one thing I had over you, okay, in gaming, was my rank in Arc Raider, and now you've surpassed it, and now I'm just some gamer. I'm just a guy who plays
regular old gamer.
Yeah. We've both been hopelessly addicted to this game. I know a lot of other people that are. I just see my friends list like constantly like Arc Raiders. The game, we've been talking about it for weeks on the podcast, but it broke its latest concurrent player count record on Steam. I think it hit like 462,000, somewhere around there.
I think the devs confirmed that all told, they had a peak of 700,000. I'm assuming that's between all their platforms at the same time.
Yeah. Which is crazy. So the game is growing. People are, I honestly think it's the fear of an extraction shooter, maybe making a lot of people hesitant to jump on board with this and going like, wait, I want to pay $40 to get, spawn camped by some scrub, in the bushes somewhere. That doesn't sound fun. But people are like, hang on, it's not fair to just call Arc Raiders another extraction shooter. It's casual it's the most casual friendly extraction shooter I've played so far, I think. And just also has so much else going for it to make it inviting. So I think the word is continuing to get out, and we're seeing that player count grow.
Word of mouth is definitely what's causing this to happen, for sure.
Yeah. And there's been some interesting, I think we're past the honeymoon now. There's more issues and whatnot that have kind of come to surface with the game. There's a lot of talk about the netcode right now, being a top issue.
There's been some examples.
Yes.
They're pretty wild.
I've experienced them too, which I'm just like blown away by how laggy some of the netcode is. But there's some spawn camping going on now. There's clips of people literally coming out of their spawn tunnel on maps and getting blown up by things.
That's too bad.
Extract camping is it's getting ramped up by some of the more recent events, where there's only one extract by the end of the round, and then players are going, hey, why would we do this lengthy PvE event when we can just hang out here and kill the guys who do it and then take all their stuff? And which is like obvious, and I'm sort of surprised that Embark didn't see some of those things coming. I thought they thought everybody was going to hold hands and do it together. And all it takes is like...
I don't think they thought that. I think that they want PvP at the end. That's why they have you go to specific areas. They want you to PvP. They want it to be tense, because that's literally why they have the extract there, and why it makes a big loud noise, letting everyone know in a 5-mile radius that, hey, someone's trying to leave. Maybe you could say hello.
Yeah, fair enough. I have some design issues with some of the modes just because I think they're a little too spawn campy, but or extract campy, I should say. I've seen people bring up, there's this funny thing going on right now. So like, first Arc Raiders was the example of why Unreal Engine 5 was really well optimized and great. Now people are going, hey, look, Arc Raiders actually isn't using a lot of the bigger advertised Unreal Engine features like Nanite and Lumen and Megalites and all these other things that like tend to be the more marketable things about Unreal Engine 5, or things that they like to market with it anyway. They go, look, all they did was turn off all the cool features, and so of course it's performing well, which is true, but also kind of funny because a lot of those big marketable features for UE5 were never well optimized. And unfortunately, what ended up happening is a lot of devs committed to these big marketed features, didn't do the proper performance testing, and then we're like, oh, the game runs like garbage, ship it. And Arc just did the opposite. They did the proper testing, and we're like, hey, it doesn't run well. Let's just turn off these features, and UE5 still runs fine if they're off.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been funny because people are like, oh, it only runs well because they basically nerfed UE5 or whatever.
Oh, it only runs well because the game looks gorgeous and it has a high frame rate, and
it's still one of the best looking games I've ever seen.
We're complaining the game looks great, runs well, but it doesn't technically use certain technology. Like, what a nothing burger of a nothing burger.
I've seen the argument like made quite a bit. I'm like, man, the game is one of the best looking games I've ever played. And I can play it without any sort of frame gen stuff at easily over 150 FPS on 4K high settings. I will say, so Embark shed a little bit of light on the lighting situation. We noticed from the early playtests that the lighting looked really good the very first time we played Arc Raiders. And then after that, we're like, doesn't quite look as good. They turned off some of the higher level lighting because I don't think they were hitting the performance benchmarks they wanted on the lower tier systems. Okay. And there wasn't going to be any visual parity otherwise. So basically, you turn on your high graphic settings, you get these beautifully dark rooms, without weird fake bounce lighting stuff going on. And then other people on low settings would see all the rooms really well lit and have a huge advantage. So
causes problems.
I understand that. Makes sense. It sucks that, the low end systems are ultimately the benchmark for where you have to balance things out at. But for a multiplayer game, you got to make those sacrifices. And I understand that. That said, I have been a little concerned and a little disappointed by the visual parity between low settings and high settings. I don't know if you've seen the video comparisons.
I have.
Yeah. They're not overly extreme. Like if you're in a CQB fight, it probably doesn't matter too much. But
I would argue it won't matter. But
yeah. Aside from, making textures smoother and simpler like that, it looks like garbage, but easier to see people. Fine. Mm-hmm. That is an element that could affect CQB fights as well. But at range, it seems like a pretty big oversight to have low settings just turn off bushes and rocks and other things for the ranges. And then you see people that are just standing out and you're like, oh, there's a guy there. Let's go get him. And then you get closer and they're like behind a tree or a rock or whatever. But now you know where they are.
So have you seen a video where this is actually tested in the wild?
Yeah.
Because I've seen a video where they showcase it just at the practice range, and it's just the practice range. So they've actually shown people turning their settings off, having a friend out in the distance, hiding in a bush, turning them all the way down, and they see their friend in the bush.
I don't know if I've seen the direct comparison, but I have seen people playing on low settings, and just the visibility does seem a little bit crisper. The visibility seems
better. Okay. Because I just wanted to, because it could just be like they just did that in the practice range.
It's true. The practice range is weird. I don't know if you've played with your FPS counter on, but when I go to the practice range, my FPS counter just tanks. Like it's terrible. Like I lose about 50 FPS or more in the practice range.
That is weird.
And then I go and play because I was trying to adjust my graphics in the practice range, right? And get it dialed in. And then I was like, wow, why is the performance so bad? What did I do? And then I played a game and it jumped back up.
That was fine. That's weird.
They might have just not optimized the practice range because whatever, it's the practice range. And if you're going to spend resources on anything, spend it on the main game. But it threw me for a little bit of a loop.
Well, so I would like them to address this. obviously you want as many people being able to play your game as possible, right? Like
Yeah.
accessibility and allowing people to just enjoy your game is always important. And so I get why they would do something like this.
Yeah.
I would like them to maybe allocate resources differently so that the other things are what are turned down and not, visual cover. But I get why it happens. For me personally, I'm not going to reduce my graphical fidelity. I think a lot of people have come out and said that they're not going to reduce their graphics because the game looks so good, and that's one of the best things about Arc Raiders is the immersion. Like, it really feels like you're a part of this world. It's what makes it's what sells the game. So a couple of months from now, will we have people that will do it just because they feel like they need to compete? Probably. It's metas will establish. People are going to get sweatier and sweatier as time goes on, and it might become more of a norm. But at least here in the now, it's, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And hopefully if it does become a problem, they'll try to address it.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point, which is something that I wanted to talk a little bit about with Arc Raiders, was the evolution of the community, right? So a lot of the early game has been progressing missions, progressing your skill tree, which is 75 levels, takes quite a long time to rank that up. But people are starting to hit that. They're starting to max out all their missions and all their levels, or they're at a point on their skill tree where they're like, what's a few more levels? Like it's not that big a deal. I'm not really XP grinding anymore.
People have hit endgame.
Yes. And it seems like for endgame, PvP is sort of where it's at, right? Because you've killed the queen, you've done all the big arcs. You're not quite as excited by running out, and like we go out and we kill some bastions and some big robots and whatever. And it's like, cool, that was fun, but it wasn't quite as exciting the first time around. You're not like, whoa, we killed a bastion. And so now it's like, let's get the players, bro. Let's go after the players. And so that natural evolution seems like it's going to occur. I'm curious to see how far it goes. I don't ever see Arc Raiders being as sweaty as some of the other extraction shooters out there.
No, I don't see it either.
By its very nature. But I am curious to see, how far do you think the evolution's going to go with like...
I think that as seasons progress, and as even this season, this first one, the further along we go, more people are going to start PvPing because they're comfortable. They're used to what's going on. PvP is going to become more prominent. I think it might subtly happen where the day modes become more casual. Like, and I think that's what they're supposed to be, right? Like, they're meant to be for people who are just trying to do quests, or they're just trying to get their gear back or something. And then the night maps is where things are just going to always be PvP 100% of the time. I still encounter solo players in the night maps that are cool. You can just VoIP them, be like, hey, I'm just on a quest. I got a rattler. You can kill me if you want, but congrats on a rattler, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, without a doubt. I was going to say something, but now I can't think of it. So I will move on.
Okay. Were you saying you noticed it changing more, or it seems...
Yeah. I mean, it's without, because you're right. There's nothing really else to do other than PvP once you hit endgame. And that's a big part of the game, right? Like, you have all this gear, you want to use it on something, PvP.
Yep. And luckily PvP is really fun. Yeah.
I remember. So this last week has been magical in Arc Raiders, right? It's actually been an experience. It's different. People are coordinating, right? Everyone's discovering the game together. And when I hear people say, well, will the game last? Should I buy the game now? It's like, it's at the end of the day, it's your decision. But if you're one of those people that waits, you will not get the same experience that the people got at launch, because the game has progressed and the meta has changed, and it's not the same experience anymore. So you kind of miss out on that if you wait too long.
Yeah. And I've been curious to think, I keep thinking about like the character reset, because obviously a lot of the tryhards are going to do it. And people who maybe play more casually won't be able to do it, because it's a pretty big progression to get all that stuff. It doesn't just happen.
Even though people are at endgame, it's because people are just no-lifing it, me included, where you have 50 plus hours or 60, 70 plus hours already, and it's been a week.
Yeah, I know. It's totally crazy. So I don't think that reset will necessarily, it's not going to push it back to where it was before, because Especially if they reset. I was thinking about this too. If they reset the missions, right, and you're just redoing those boring missions again, because they are kind of boring.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are just going to ignore them, right? Because they don't offer that much.
They don't give you XP. They do give you some items, which is nice, right?
Yeah.
Like the items can be helpful and that can get you going, right? But you're not wrong. There's no XP associated with it, so it doesn't help you level up at all or any faster.
Yeah. So I think the second time around, instead of everybody being like, oh, I'm working on my whatever mission, you want to team up and work together? It's being like, no, I'm getting XP. Let's either fight each other or work together to kill other people or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So the vibes will certainly change. I can't get enough of, like, I love all of it, but I'm still so impressed with solo play. It gives me like laugh out loud moments every other game, just about, where I had a match last night and I was kind of creeping up this hill. I see a guy, he's prying open a box. I'm sort of looking at him. I'm not like ADSing, and he sees me and he goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey man, we can be cool. We can be cool. We can be cool. And I said, okay, that's fine with me. And then he shoots me with his sniper rifle. I get behind cover. He charges me and I drop him with a pistol. And he just starts like manically laughing. He's like, hey man, you startled me. Like, come on, you got defibs and all this stuff. He's like, hold up, let's chat. And like,
what do you mean, young man? You can't pull that nonsense. Like,
it was funny because I could hear in his voice how embarrassed he was that he tried to gank me and then screwed it up, and I basically killed him, and he was just like manically laughing till the moment I just punched him out or whatever. And I was just like, oh, that's funny. Like somebody's
really
just
starting to
truly
see
embarrassed.
the true colors of players in this game for sure.
Yeah. There's another moment where I caught somebody on the top of the control tower in Dam. We had a little firefight. I won it, and as I'm healing, he starts crawling to the edge and he's like, good luck looting me, sucker. And like, as he goes off the edge, his voice gets quieter as he's falling. He's like, sucker. And I was like, it was funny. It made me laugh. I was like, oh yeah,
that's good. That's great.
There goes all my loot. Like he did screw me. I didn't get his loot, you know, it fell up way off somewhere and I couldn't get to it. So I was like, man, fair enough. Well played, sir. Well played.
I'm starting to pick up on the sleaziness of players. Like I'm now starting to pick up on like the patterns of like how people will play. I had an extract and a guy joins me and I'm like, hey, you cool? He's like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm like, I don't trust you based off of that response, young man. And so he goes, we're in the little pit on Blue Gate, right?
Yeah.
At the very end, I'm dialing it in. He's dialing it in. And then he gets off of his display and I'm like, that's a weird thing to do at the very end. Why are you getting off your display, young man? So I get off mine as well. And of course, he blasts me halfway through the animation. And then I shoot him in the face. I'm like, what do you feel? Like, what is this feeling you feel right now? Shame? Disappointment in yourself? Revel in it.
Yeah, there's some dirty players out there, man. They'll pretend to be your best friend too, right up until the end. And you're like, you sociopath. How do you sleep at night?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is fun, you know, you just get to see people's alter egos out there and they do what they're going to do. And
the game has some of the best, organic gameplay. And what is that term that developers use? Emergent gameplay. Yeah. It has some of the best emergent gameplay.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Just too many moments and hearing people. And even sometimes I feel bad I'll apologize to people when I kill them too, where I'm just like, I got an easy kill on somebody. They're running around. I want the gear. Just take him out. And there's just some guy and he's like, all right, man. And I'm just like, hey,
all right, it's okay.
I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. It's the name of the game.
I'll take a lot of people out near extract and I'll feel bad and I'll be like, just get inside with, just get it.
Get over here, buddy.
I didn't trust you because, you know, you're looking at me and let's be honest, you didn't trust me either. So just get in there. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Gosh.
And we extract together.
I wish that duos worked better because I feel like that would be the perfect marriage of like trios is basically PvP mode because you see another group and you're like, let's fight, you know, basically every time. Solos, you can group up, I'd say more often than not with people you run across.
A bit more flip of the coin.
Yeah. and duos, you could probably have that like perfect balance of the two, where you're like, either we're thirsting for blood every time, or we could group up for some overpowered like quad gameplay or something and just wreck all the other duos or something. There'd be some cool dynamics in there that I'd love to see. Hopefully they can dial down that matchmaking. There's some pretty big ticket items that I would love to see fixed, one of which would be duos. Another one would be like a complete overhaul of the skill tree, which I think it doesn't make any sense to me.
Security breach or bust, basically. Like, you put your points in the red tree to get that, and you're just literally, it's like the meme of the dude who can't hold all of the stuff because he has all these tempests and purples and bobcats, and then I'm over here like getting one maybe every 10 raids or something, right? Like, it's not even close to the same influence as the other ones.
Yes, and on top of that, I think you could make a pretty compelling argument for this is the best skill tree balance, period. Like, there isn't much reason to deviate from, like, you get your security locker thing, you get your basic movement skills, and then you get your hold more guns skill. And like, that's basically the best one. You could make some arguments for some of the rolling and stamina stuff here and there if you're a big movement shooter guy. But for, I'd say like 90% of the player base, you're like, nope, this is the skill tree progression plan.
It's an extraction looter shooter. It's about getting loot. And lo and behold, getting reliable, really powerful weapons is strong. Like, who would have seen that coming, right?
So I want them to rebalance the skill tree and rethink some of their skills, because they've got ones where it's like, you can take out a wasp in one hit with your melee weapon.
What? And it's like at the end too. You're like, I don't give a damn. It's in the air. What do you mean I can take it out in one hit? A wasp
and a turret. You're like, okay. That'll come in handy. Never.
I mean, I guess if you have like the zip line thing, you could like zip line up to them and like smack them. But like, then you're using a legendary item just to take out a thing that you could easily use any weapon to take it out in a split second, right?
There's some skills where you're like, is this leftover from some proto version of the game where meleeing wasps was a lot more realistic or something? Yeah. Could you like previously throw your hammer at a wasp or something? Like, it just, some of the skills make no sense, and you could almost never recommend them. It's like, do you really want to spend like all these skill points so that when you go down, you crawl faster and like take less damage? Like, okay.
I had some people trying to convince me that would be decent. No. I'm like, I guess in maybe, right? Like, if they can't thirst you, so you're a little bit tankier while you're down, so your teammate can come up and defib you, like, that could be all right. I can see that being okay, but you're down on the ground, right? Like, at that point, it's only for duos or trios, and it's not going to help you with solos at all. Mm-hmm. And then you also have like perks that don't even, they feel like they're not advertised the way that they actually work. Like the one where it says if you're walking, you generate, it's like no one thought it was, or maybe some people did, but very few people I think picked that up believing that it was you had to press a button to have your character walk. You just thought it would be when you're jogging, right? Mm-hmm. Like you just assumed that would be a really good perk. No, it's not that great. Apparently the roll stuff doesn't even really extend your roll by much. It might extend your roll by like one body length if you put it in all 5 points. You put like a big investment and it doesn't really do a whole lot.
Somebody did a comparison of the breaching times too, from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. They had
that's actually decent.
They had it overlaid. I thought it was way more subtle than I thought it was going to be. It wasn't as big of a change as you think. Like, it was.
I think it was 3 seconds. I think it went from like 10 seconds to 7 seconds. Yeah, it was a 30% difference.
Okay.
It was a pretty significant difference.
Okay, I saw it on a really short timed thing, which was like breaching a crate, and so like for basic stuff, it was like almost no difference or whatever. But
it's 30%. I think.
Okay. Anyway, the lack of description, the poorly thought out skill tree progression, the weird imbalance of like security locker being so much better than any other skill in the game. Like they need to rethink it. I wouldn't mind them completely like obliterating what they have and coming up with a whole new one, or using the wipe to say, here, you get access to a new skill tree if you wipe your character, and that would be an incentive to progress.
Now you're getting into the territory where they don't want to go, which is they don't want to give players that have been playing for a long time a massive advantage against someone who is brand new. That's why a lot of the early perks are so much stronger, because they want you to be able to easily get the stamina, get your stuff so that you can open up doors quicker, right?
You have to change it for everyone and then just give everybody a free reset or something if that screws up their progression tree or something. So, yeah, you just rebalance the whole thing and be like, here's your reset.
I do think they need to be rebalanced, though.
Yep.
Not only do I think that the security one should get probably a slight nerf, maybe they shouldn't be so reliable, but also buff up the other ones. They don't feel substantial enough to justify the amount of points you're putting into them.
The what is the green tree survivability or something like that, or
I don't know.
Conditioning, I think.
I call it the green tree.
Yeah, green tree is basically the worst tree for, I don't know, like movement and green are sort of, you need those movement skills. Green is like, you could get by without anything in there if you had to. Like, you'd be fine. So it's just imbalanced, could use some work. Obviously, game a lot of fun, but some questionable decisions in that realm. Yeah, that's kind of like one of the biggest fixes I'd like to see is the netcode, the duos matchmaking, the skill tree stuff. And I'm more or less just really curious to see what happens once I don't really care about my XP grind anymore and I just get into the PvP mode. Am I going to be enjoying it as much?
This is where extraction shooters start to struggle, is how do you keep your player base engaged at the end? Mm-hmm. Like, people have been enjoying it now. Tarkov has struggled with this. I would argue that every other extraction shooter hasn't figured this out. Granted, I haven't really played a lot of endgame of ABI or Delta Force, but yeah, like if it's just PvP, like you could just go play another game, right? You could just play a more traditional PvP game, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I wonder. I wonder if they could create more, like cosmetic incentives to do certain things in the game or something. Well,
they do have the trials, which I think are actually a kind of a clever system. Where each week you have trials, and if you do them and you rise in your own bracket of the leaderboards, which is kind of confusing, but if you do those trials and you do them well enough, you'll get enough points where you will progress and you will get rewards each. You'll get to like a higher tier, and those higher tiers will have cosmetic rewards. And I think that's going to be true for every season, if I had to guess.
They are cosmetic rewards? How do you see if you're like, can you get locked in, or it's just whoever's the highest at the end or something?
I don't know. I don't know, because I know you can drop down. I'm pretty sure you can drop down to a lower tier, so it might only reward it at the end. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't think the trials have been very well explained.
Yeah. There's a couple things that have not been. Actually, that's kind of a theme for the game. A lot of stuff in it is not particularly well explained, and then like way later, you're like, wait, you can do what with what now? Okay, interesting.
But I do think it's cool, because then the trials will get you to actually participate in PvE activities and not just PvP. So you'll go into a night raid where people are trying to kill bastions, and you hear someone taking out a bastion. You're like, oh, I know what that guy's up to.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, so it keeps the PvE engaged more than just it would be without it, I think. But we'll see.
It's fair.
And we still have the new map to come out too. We don't know what that new map's going to be like.
New map and new timed events.
Yep.
I haven't been super impressed with the latest batch that they added. I think they're okay. The little lightning storm one is kind of whatever. It just makes it very chaotic outside, which you sort of already got with some of the rainstorm ones anyway. They were hard to see and hear people. The vault one, I tried it and it seemed to be bugged or wasn't clear or whatever. And other people have been reporting that there's issues with that one too. I don't know if you tried that one yet.
I haven't done that one, no. And I will need to for the trial, because it's one of the trials is you have to like upload data in the bunker.
Okay.
So that's going to be tough.
Yeah. So that one's tricky, but it's been fun. It's been funny too. Like we had a match of trios, and this other team wanted to group up with us for the bunker trial, and me and the other guy in my group were talking to them in local, but our third party member was up on a roof far away and he thought we were getting attacked. So he snipes one of these guys and then just this firefight breaks out in all chaos. And it's like, it was really funny. And the guys were like, we wanted to group up. We're like, we're sorry, like shooting them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, those moments just like occur and it's hilarious and fun. And you're sort of like, oh man, what just happened there?
Yep. Sounds about right.
It's chaos. Fantastic chaos.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Did you hear Grand Theft Auto 6 got a little delay?
Yeah, I did. I'm surprised you didn't open the stream with blaming me for the delay or something.
Too predictable.
You probably thought about it, didn't you?
I did.
It crossed your mind. Yeah.
It absolutely 100% did cross my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, I did hear about it. It's a year delay and
not a year delay. From May to November.
We're getting into the year. Apologies. Yeah.
Yeah. The Take-Two stock dipped 8% as a result of the delay. So, buy the dip because it's not like GTA 6 is going to be weak.
I'm pretty sure it's going to explode.
It'll recover.
Yeah. I'm sure they're not too bothered by that.
Yeah, but it is interesting because this is like one of those games that is being hyped up so much. It's going to be one of the biggest game launches of all time. It'll break all the records ever.
It will be the biggest. There's no question.
And every other dev on the planet is like, how do we launch our game as far away from GTA 6 as possible? And then they're like, okay, it's launching in May. Cool. Plan for later in the year. And then they're like, sorry, we delayed for November. And they're like, can we launch sooner? Push it up. I'm afraid that a bunch of games are going to launch too early or miss their window or whatever, trying to get around this GTA 6 launch window. It sort of sucks for them, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's
hopefully it's a solid release. And it sounds like, and the reason why they're delaying it is that they understand what's most important is to have a good game at launch and not one they have to fix later on.
Yeah.
I don't know what their philosophy is over there because they kind of do their own thing. They're one of the few companies that just sort of just does their own thing without regard to anything else. Mm-hmm. And that's for good and bad in some ways, but they're kind of in their own separate category. So it's kind of hard to read them.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I think they have enough money to do whatever they want. So I don't think they're on any pressure to release the game early, release it when it's ready. So unlike other developers that are like, they got to lock in their release date, the publishers usually give them bullshit deals, which are like, if you miss your release window, then we get an extra 10%, blah, blah, blah. That's really common. And that's why a lot of games come out before they're ready because the developers are like, well, crap, we're going to lose all our money if we don't hit it in this window and we're locked into this crappy contract. And GTA 6 is not. So they're going to launch it when it's ready. And it's a stupidly huge game that's going to be stupidly ambitious with insane stuff, which means the polish phase for a game of that size has got to be like
how this thing's going to run on a PlayStation. Like, what?
Well, maybe they don't either.
It's got to be 30 FPS, right? Like, you think we're getting 60?
I have no idea. Optimization is a very time-intensive process. And from my experience working in UE5, you can basically drill down just about as deep as you want to in any system. And then you get into this weird trade-off where you're like, well, we could optimize it even further. It's going to be an absolute nightmare if we have to make any more assets for the game. But, oh man, we could save even more draw calls if we combine all this crap together. So you can just keep going with that. And with a game on the size of Grand Theft Auto 6, maybe that's part of their optimization where they're like, let's just keep going with this optimization. Let's take it further and further. And so we'll see. How that goes.
I wish them the best because all eyes will be on them one way or the other.
Yeah. I can, now that I've been using UE5 enough and I can tell like little graphical stuff, I noticed in our creators, and this is super nerdy crap that only me and two other people are going to care about, but when you're pushing through foliage and it starts to fade away from your screen, kind of like goes transparent a little bit as you're moving through it, they're using a dithering effect, which I was like, oh, you clever,
look
clever
at that.
people.
Yeah, the dithering effect. Yeah, that's cool.
Which is far more shader performant than just using a transparency shader. So, but I did notice the dithering, and I was like, oh, clever art creators out there. They're not transparencing this game and being lazy.
They're taking their optimization seriously with this dithering.
Yeah. Which is, it's hard to use dithering right, because if you don't, it's very noticeable. But my eye is tuned for it now, and I'm like, dithering, I see it. Yeah.
May have become more of a nerd than you were before.
Did you get one of these things here? See that?
I'm sorry. What is that? Ancient technology?
Yeah, it's a tape of the soundtrack for Arc Raiders. Isn't that cool?
That's cool. And they sent that to you?
Yeah, they sent it to me with this is hilarious, by the way. This is a tape player. I didn't know I was getting this. This just showed up in the mail, and I was like, what? This is a tape player.
Whoa.
That plays a tape, but via Bluetooth.
Whoa, that's wild.
So it's analog to digital, of course, because it's playing over Bluetooth. I think I can plug in headphones if I wanted to go analog to analog and be an audio snob about it. But
that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, the soundtrack for Arc Raiders is actually pretty legit. And I hooked it up to that little Bluetooth speaker, and I was like, what? This is so cool. And I had to explain to my kids what tapes were and how they worked and stuff. And they were like,
around, children.
The tech's pretty cool. I was like, how did they invent this? This is amazing. Like,
that is neat.
Reading magnetic coding on a tape to make music. What I did find was weird, though. So A side is the soundtrack, but then B side is actually one of the lead developers, Alexander Grandal. He's doing covers of ABBA on there, which at first I was like, that sucks. But, he did a really good impression or a cover of Dancing Queen. So I was kind of vibing with it,
Nice. That's very cool.
So kudos to you, Alexander. Alex. I should mention that is not true, so he doesn't get super upset.
That is a joke.
Yeah, that is a joke.
As a matter of fact, that was just your tape and only your tape, and the fact that you've now disclosed this,
Yeah. But it is I haven't usually when a game company sends a care package. Like, and I don't mean this to be like YouTuber snobbery, but a lot of it is kind of junk that you're like, all right, here's like a t-shirt with like the logo all over it. You're like, I'm probably not going to wear that. And then like, here's some other stuff that you're like, I don't think I'm going to be able to use this. Yeah. Just stuff like that. And this one, I was like, whoa, like, come on. It's a tape, a Bluetooth tape player.
Pretty neat. Yeah,
so cool.
It's neat.
Did you ever buy music on a tape, or is that you're not old enough for that one?
No, my first CD was Creed.
That is, I can see that 100%, Matt. That's really funny.
Yeah, that was my very first. I think I was in like 4th grade or something like that. It was Creed.
Yeah. That was huge back in the day. It was
big. They were big. It was a big deal.
That's funny. My first tape was Michael Jackson Thriller.
Nice.
Obviously, well before any of the news on Michael was out, but and then my first CD was I think it was 9 Inch Nails' Pretty Hate Machine, which is a good one. It's my angst phase, man. I was like, oh, you don't get it, man. We're all in a system, bro.
You don't understand.
We're all working for the man. This guy gets me.
I got like Linkin Park, Breaking Benjamin,
sure.
The normal stuff, right? Normal teenagers when you're growing up in the 2000s, right?
The angst. Yeah. Era of angst. I like it. I miss it. I listen to it now. I'm like, this is not vibing as much as I used to, but
I'm still vibing with it.
Still vibing.
My angsty phase. Yeah, 36 though.
I wanted to bring up a discussion about the Game Awards that I was just thinking on it a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
This is sort of inspired by the recent controversy of Shroud basically saying to vote for Arc Raiders and don't vote for Expedition 33 or whatever.
It's interesting that he singles out Expedition 33 because he's right, but it's interesting.
Well, yeah, that's basically the title that everybody thinks is going to win Game of the Year. Yeah. So he's like, he didn't, he streams for however many hours a day. They say lots of stuff. He didn't say it quite as eloquently, but he brought up a point that I thought was interesting. Well, he's getting a ton of flack for basically saying don't vote for this indie game that everybody loves, and everybody's of course losing it.
Because how dare someone else have a different opinion and prioritize different things for their games? Right.
And I mean, he could have just said, I love Arc Raiders, vote for Arc Raiders, instead of saying, don't vote for this other game. But he said that and drama ensued. But he brought up a very interesting point, I thought, which was that multiplayer games never win Game of the Year. The only time a multiplayer game has ever won, unless you count It Takes Two, which I don't really count, was Overwatch in 2016. Yeah. So out of the 10 Game Award shows, a multiplayer game has only won once. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. So I decided to do a little bit of research on this because I just wanted to know, like, what percentage of games sold were multiplayer versus single player, how much people were playing multiplayer games versus single player. What's interesting is, like, game sales wise, multiplayer and single player are pretty close in terms of, like, we've sold X amount of units of Call of Duty versus X amount of units of Elden Ring or whatever. But in terms of game time spent in video games, multiplayer just obliterates single player.
100%, yeah.
And the data I was getting was very loose, like me working with ChatGPT to try and, like, get it to collate data together. So I wouldn't say, like, rely on this 100%, but it estimated around like 85% of game time was multiplayer versus like 15-ish% was single player, which,
I mean, I would believe it.
Yeah, I would believe it too. It could be off, so don't take that data as like for sure this is it. And I think honestly,
it probably is off, but
it's probably off by a little bit. But I think for the most part, we can be fairly confident in saying that most game time is spent in multiplayer games, which I think is...
So the argument I feel like you're getting to is why is such a large portion of gamers' playtime multiplayer not getting more recognition during the Game Awards? If there's so much emphasis on it for playtime.
I think it's an interesting thing to look at. I'm not saying I totally like disagree with the picks at the Game Awards or anything like that. But I think it's an interesting thing to look at how we appreciate different forms of art. And I think that the Game Awards has sort of built their review process in a similar fashion to like how a movie industry does their movie awards. Mm-hmm. And they look at things like narrative storytelling is one of the big factors that affects that, which notoriously multiplayer games are not as good at because they're not focusing on that. They're focusing on
have it.
Gameplay systems mostly, or they have it, but it's sort of told through like weird background stuff that's happening, you know? And voice acting and other things like that. And on top of that, to get the full experience of Arc Raiders, you might need to sink 40, 50 hours into it, where a lot of single player experiences to get a fulfilling or a semi-full experience can be done in 12 hours, on average or whatever they are. So for a reviewer, especially when they bring in reviewers and they go, here's the list of games you got to play and review and compare. Think about how hard it would be to play like a really big multiplayer game where to get the full experience, you're going to have to sink in 30, 40 hours to really get the correct vibe versus a single player where you can complete the whole thing. Aside from like, whatever, being a completionist on challenges or something, you can do all that in less time. So it did make me think about it to a degree where I think single player games inherently get a huge favor in the review process because they're literally just, the multiplayer is not competing in half of the categories that they're judging and looking at. But it's not to say that I think the Game Awards show is somehow rigged or unfair or inappropriate, but I do think that the the way in which it's structured just specifically is going to always favor single player.
I would agree.
Even if single player games, if we're looking at the data, make up a much smaller percentage of gamer time globally, right? So you're like,
they make up more. Yes, but there's also way more single player games coming out than multiplayer games.
Yes.
So if you look at like a lot of the big multiplayer games that have come out this year, what do we have? We have got Battlefield 6, we've got Call of Duty coming out. There's obviously Arc Raiders. What else? What else big?
Yeah,
what other
and
big
then there's like
games?
probably like small little weird
there's indie titles for sure.
But indie games, some RTS games here and there, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You're right. There are far less multiplayer games, and multiplayer games are usually more thought of as like these big AAA studios that are like centered around microtransactions and live service and seasonal content. And they go, this is a platform for making money. So it kind of, I think it has a certain stigma around it, especially in the like Game Awards are about awarding artistic vision and that kind of thing versus a platform that makes tons of money. But I thought it was interesting to just like bring up a more civil debate around the idea and sort of think about it because
inflammatory statements. We have to go all in. One side is right. The other side should be outcasted.
Yeah. And you know, like Shroud, I have not played Exhibition 33 or whatever, so I can't weigh in on what I think of the game. And there's plenty of single players that I like. I can say that I think Ark is a fantastic game, and like it would easily get like, you know, my vote or nomination for that type of thing.
It can be Shroud's game of the year. It can be your game of the year.
Yeah.
Right.
I did also think about reviewers, right? So the Game Awards works where 90% of the vote is handled by the reviewing people.
They've got
a panel, right? Maybe it's 100 or something like that. I don't know how many people it is. And they pick them from different outlets like IGN and GameSpot and Kotaku. And I think they have content creators in there as well. I think they bring in some content creators to do that.
I think you're right.
So it seems like a fairly varied panel, but their reviews count for 90% of the vote, where the community vote is 10%, which I also think is a good system, because if it was the community vote, then you would get...
It would just be popularity contest.
Yeah, Wukong would have won Game of the Year, right? Because it was just a massive game, and you can get tons of people to vote for something. It becomes sort of a social media campaign versus this is actually the best game type campaign. Right. So,
and it was a damn good game. It was good.
Yeah,
but you're right.
But it didn't win
because it just had so many. It's one of the top biggest selling games ever on Steam.
Yeah,
like it was very successful.
Right. So it got the Community Choice Award or whatever, which they do recognize, and I think that's interesting. Yeah. But yeah, so you got reviewers up there making the choice, and I guess it really sort of depends what that panel is made up of. And I know that there's an interesting idea where it's like a lot of game journalism now is based on people growing up in an era where single player was actually the more common game, right? Where that might be where a lot of your game nostalgia and game preferences lie in single player games, because multiplayer wasn't as big for some of the reviewers potentially growing up now. And also having gone to so many press events in my life where I would be playing a multiplayer game because I'm there to play a multiplayer game, and then the press that show up to play the multiplayer game are clearly not big multiplayer game fans. And it's not to say...
I think that does play a role. Yeah. I do think you're right.
And multiplayer tends to cater to a younger audience. You know, there's a little bit more twitch reflexing and that, and maybe the gameplay styles and whatever appeal to a younger audience. And so I'm basically saying I think there probably is a little bit of biases in the review panel towards single player as well.
Yeah.
Which I think these topics are interesting to discuss. I don't think we can say anything definite on it, but there's certainly trends and things that I've observed over the year where, like, after BF4 came out, I remember I went to a press event for BF4, and this was before they knew what to do with content creators. This was like right at the beginning, and they were like, we don't know how to handle content creators. This is all new space. YouTube's new. People reviewing games on YouTube is like a brand new thing. Right. So we just got, it was like me and like 4 other people that got put into a press event basically. And we wiped the floor with them. Like we weren't playing to like obliterate them. We were just playing to play the game. Right. But I remember getting called out in like a Kotaku review that was like chill out level cap because I was just murdering everybody there, which was fine. It was funny. They sort of did it in a joking way. But I also remember going around and helping people at some of these press events to like set up their games and their controllers. And some of them I was like, people didn't know like how to ADS, you know. I was like, you're in here like reviewing a Battlefield game for like a major for like a major news outlet, and they're like, they clearly don't play multiplayer or FPSs or anything. And so I'm like, it kind of made me a little concerned and made me think about the game reviewing culture being maybe centered around different stuff. And I'm not saying that the Game Awards would bring in unqualified people.
I feel like that has changed over the years.
Maybe.
I think it has. Because if you were thinking of a game journalist, who's the first one, or who are a couple that come to mind? Are they traditional websites, or do you have someone like Skill Up, right?
Yeah,
like you've got YouTubers have become the journal, you know, your quote unquote gaming journalists. I'm putting in air quotes because I don't even know what that means anymore.
Which I agree with. So if the if the Game Awards show was more weighted towards those type of people making their reviews, maybe we would see more multiplayer get more of a weighting in their decision. Yeah.
So the way I view the Game Awards, it's a celebration of games, and it's a way to show off in these amazing experiences. And some people are like, I saw a post online that they need to have different categories. There needs to be like a single player game of the year, a multiplayer game of the year, and then
I think they do have multiplayer game of the year.
They do. Yeah. And I was like, they already do that. Just because it's not like the cream of the crop. Like they have all these subcategories there for a reason, because it's not just about the one at the end of the day. That's the grand prize. That's like, you're the game of the year. Does it really matter? No. But yeah, that's why they do have multiplayer, indie, first studios, they've got a ton of categories. And that's why they're there for a reason.
Yep. And it makes sense. And I would say yes to you and I. It doesn't matter. The Game Awards are just for fun, and it's about recognizing talent and creation and stuff like that. However, I will say, and this is kind of based off of what we've seen happen with the movie awards and stuff like that, is the movie to win Best Picture, they see a huge revenue spike, right? Tons of people go and rent that movie.
They can, of course.
Yeah. And I would imagine it's a big deal. It's probably not as big of a factor for the Game Awards, but I see the Game Awards heading in that direction, right? Where if a game wins Game of the Year, you go, well, I didn't play that, man. I should check that out. And all of a sudden,
I think that already happens. Yeah, without a doubt.
It certainly happens to a degree. I'm saying maybe not quite as big of a degree. And so, well, you and I say, it doesn't matter. I think from an industry perspective, it matters a lot. Who gets, how the review process works for them, how games are chosen, all that kind of stuff. So I do think it's worth having the discussion of what's like a a less biased way to approach it. And it's a tricky conversation to have because we've got all these complexities of like, it comes down to who's making the choices and what's their background. And are we weighting it too heavily in like old school reviewers who prefer single player games or new school reviewers who like multiplayer and all that stuff. So it's a complex subject. I think it's interesting, especially when so much of players' game time is so heavily weighted in multiplayer, which rarely seems to win the Game of the Year thing because of
you bring up good points for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not too bothered by it because, as I said, there's different categories, and I think Arc Raiders is going to win Game of the Year for multiplayer. I think it's absolutely like Battlefield would have been, but then Arc Raiders is like no. Battlefield's still great. Like I still love Battlefield. I'm really enjoying Battlefield 6 a lot, even with its problems. But Arc Raiders has definitely stolen a bit of its thunder because it's just a unique experience and
it's new.
It's new. Yeah, it's a new experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's fantastic, and I hope they get all the credit due for innovating. Right? I've kind of Embark fanboyed a bit over the years, but I'm just like a huge fan of them being as big of a studio as they are, which is not a small studio. They're decently sized, and going for these cool ideas, and not just being like, do the formula. Like they're making their new ideas work. And it's happening in an economic era of studios bracing for the impact of their projects not working. They're firing off teams. They're getting rid of the expansions and new ideas and new IPs. They're kind of hunkering down and focusing on their IPs that work and not rocking the boat and not innovating the formula too much. They're just going, no, don't just give these people the thing that they want on the big IP and don't come up with too much of crazy projects. And Embark is like, we're a brand new studio. We don't have IPs. We're going to invent some, and they're going to be really cool and crazy. And that's how we're going to make a name.
Ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently I think they have 2 other new games in the works right now.
In development. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm like, so excited for, right? Because you're like, if they did the finals and then they did Arc Raiders, you're like, well, now my ears are
where
like
are they going next?
Yeah. And I gotta say, even with the lead up to Arc Raiders, before I had ever played it, I was like, I don't know about this game concept. That was my general opinion. It was like PvE game initially, which I was like, yeah, whatever. Then PvE
there was
extraction.
A lot of hesitancy around. And I'm kind of, I'm rubbing it in some people's noses a little bit with the whole, it's another extraction shooter. I'm like, it's another extraction shooter, huh?
Yeah, well, exactly. And
I know, I get it. People were hesitant. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they've sort of redefined the genre to a degree, which is like, extraction shooters have gotten the name of being these sweaty games that you get ganked in, and they're
because it was all based off Tarkov. Every single one of them was trying to emulate Tarkov, and Tarkov is sweaty. So of course, like it just naturally happened that way because they're trying to replicate the success.
Yep. And if Arc Raiders had been the first extraction shooter, you'd have a completely different definition of what is an extraction shooter, probably.
It would make them good, yeah.
Yeah, and the vibe around the experience, as opposed to it being this crazy, campy, sweaty game, which can still happen in Arc Raiders, and I'm glad it can happen, but it's also, it seems fairly easy to avoid if you really want to. You can be a passive player, and I think get pretty darn far in the game and have a good experience.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. It's impressive. Did you watch the new Frankenstein movie by Guillermo del Toro?
I have not seen it. Did you like it?
I did like it. I wasn't blown away by it, but it was fun. It has Guillermo del Toro's like visual style on everything, and just
looks very bright, kind of maybe
saturated,
not bright, but
saturated.
Yeah.
All the colors are, if it's green, it's extra green. If it's red, it's extra red. He has some very visually striking scenes in it, and some very fun costumes and visual stuff going on. And I liked a lot about it. I think maybe he was reaching a little bit with some of the narratives, and some of the characters were more one-dimensional than I think he wanted it to be. But it was a fun, different take on the Frankenstein story, which is cool, right? Because we all know the Frankenstein story. We kind of know the tones of what it's trying to say, like who is the monster type thing, is it the monster or is it the doctor, and all that stuff. And that's a fun gray area to play with. And I thought this movie took it in that direction, but also added some fun things on top of that. It's on Netflix, so if you got a Netflix subscription, it's just free to watch, man.
Yeah, take a watch.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I'll just say I enjoyed it. I didn't walk away like blown away, but I do like Guillermo del Toro a lot, just because he always drags you into some really fun universe.
Yeah, he's very stylistic.
Yeah. man, I was thinking, I think about this like once a year. It's like Guillermo del Toro was supposed to direct the Hobbit movies, and the producers, whoever was in charge, just couldn't get their crap together and sign off on it. And he was waiting. I think he waited like a year or something, and was just like, "Hey, man, like I'm in high demand. I gotta make movies. I'm not just gonna sit around waiting on you guys to like sign some papers or whatever they were doing." And so they did all the pre-production with his art, and then he bailed from the project, and like Peter Jackson had to come in and sort of, I don't want to say begrudgingly, but come in and try and save those movies. And it's like, man, that could have been so cool if he directed them.
Personally,
yeah,
I would have preferred Peter Jackson to get his however many years he needs in pre-production and then make the movies he wanted to make, you know.
I 100% agree also. I think but I do think he was burned out. So that's why he didn't want to do it. So I think they gave him that offer, and then he was like, man, I just spent like, 7 years making these movies. He's like, I don't want to do that again.
He was literally like creating fight scenes like on set, like how things were going to look an hour before. So it was definitely rushed, and it's too bad because clearly with production and things ready to go, that guy can make an incredible movie.
Yes. Yeah. No question. And like, we kind of know the backstory, and no disrespect to Peter Jackson either, because obviously he's proven himself with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. But every now and then I just think about
one of the best God trilogies in the history of history. Like you're
legend.
You're good.
Legendary. But I just think about that every now and then. I'm like, man, if Guillermo del Toro
would have been cool,
had actually had the time and made the movie, and they hadn't screwed it up on the producing side, whoever didn't do the right thing at the right time. God, that could have been cool. Because I like so many of his movies, like Pacific Rim, man, one of my all-time favorites. It's just such a fun movie. Yeah. Just like normally, like this would have been a terrible film had anybody else made it, but somehow a movie about people operating giant.
It's I won't say anymore.
It knows what it is. It
does know what it is. Yeah.
It's not Citizen Kane, Matt. It's
not high art. It's fun,
fighting
and that's okay.
Giant robots, but it's like the best possible rendition of that you could expect. I feel. You go any more serious with it and you're like, what are we doing here, people? Like giant robots fighting
giant robots.
Monsters.
Come on now.
Yeah. You can only take that so seriously before it just gets stupid. So I think he struck the perfect middle ground of like, this is how serious we can go. You can't go Evangelion with it. Otherwise you can't do live. I don't think you can do a live action Evangelion. I think that only works in like anime,
Probably right. Yeah. But you never know.
Yeah. Have you seen Evangelion?
No, not really.
I feel like we had this conversation before, and I was like,
I'm sure we have.
Matt, you have a subscription to Crunchyroll. How have you not seen like one of the most famous animes of all time?
I should probably cancel my subscription to Crunchyroll.
Just watch it, and then you don't have to live in shame.
Oh, damn. Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, but that's one of those interesting ones where it's like, okay, taking big robots fighting big monsters really seriously. How do we do that? And like, well, that's one approach. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I like it. I got my ears checked today, my hearing.
I was going to say, why does it show we have little notes and it says ears and wet leg. I don't give a damn about your ears. What is this wet leg thing?
I was just going to say, I've been listening to the band Wet Leg.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
You can read my notes and not know what they mean. I'm fine with that.
Right.
Just because you're not up on the pop music industry.
Is Wet Leg a pop band popular these days?
Yeah, they're getting pretty big. I think you will hear about them if you haven't heard about them.
Wet Leg.
Their first album was fun, and their second album is absolutely killer. I can't stop listening to it. It's solid. Like, I think a producer basically saw that they were like a really good, weird little indie band.
Indie rock.
And helped produce their second album, and their second album is like, it's fire, dude. I like it a lot.
Nice.
And I've been listening to it while
I'll have to check it out.
Model spaceships and stuff.
Of course you did.
Yeah. So yeah, I was going to recommend that. But also, so I went to the doctor. I made an appointment to get my hearing checked like 3 months ago, because that's how long it takes to get an ear appointment. And this was back when I thought I had like lost some of my hearing from like the Battlefield 6 event, you know, getting sound.
Oh my God, you thought it was that
I thought
bad.
It could have been that, or it was like weird sinus stuff where I had like pressure in my left ear and I really couldn't hear very well.
That event was so unbelievably loud. I don't think people realize how it was frustratingly loud.
It was so loud that I thought I had hearing damage.
Yeah. I literally put in my sound. I put in my ear pods, like my headphones, and then I turned on the noise canceling, and it was still loud.
Yeah.
But I think it saved. I think because I didn't get any ringing after that. Like I think it actually saved me.
I had ringing. I couldn't hear very well after it, and basically I saw so many people in the audience like putting their hands up. And the worst thing about it is that they didn't tell us that we were going to see something super loud, and two, it happened for like surprise explosions, so you couldn't like anticipate when it was going to be loud. Yeah, so you're just like, oh crap, they just set off a bomb and now I can't hear anything out of my ears. So yeah, I thought my hearing was permanently screwed from that, because it lasted, I'm not kidding, like 2 months. I couldn't hear out of my left ear very well.
Wow.
But I went to the ear doctor and it subsided. The last month it cleared up.
Good.
And I got like perfect marks across the board, like on my hearing.
Oh, good.
She said like really good hearing for my age, all that stuff, like solid. And immediately after I got those test results back, I texted my wife and I was like, hey, like, I'm not hard of hearing. You are soft spoken. And I won. And like any good partner, I used doctor provided data to win a marital argument.
That.
Yeah.
I'm sure she really appreciated that.
Yeah. But now I've got data backed up, like marital argument, like material there. So,
honey,
I'm winning.
You're just
that
not
one.
Speaking loud enough.
Yeah. So I've got perfect hearing. The doctor said I got my stats back and I'm solid across the board.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, because that's, as you get older, when things start to fall apart a little bit, you're like, I'm not liking this. Things used to be cool. Now they're not as much, and I don't like this.
I was really concerned for 2 months because
I don't blame you. I don't blame
especially
you at all.
making my game stuff. I'm literally the dude who's like the sound mixing guy. So I'm like, if I'm losing hearing in my left ear and I'm supposed to be in charge of sound mixing, this whole thing is screwed. Like it's going to be a disaster. So I was really
such a shame
stressed.
if it was from that event too, because the event was so cool, except for that.
Yeah, except for some moment. Audio guy who was like, "Why don't we just turn it up a bit?"
I mean, it was intense because it made you feel like you're in there, right? Your
I can
chest
hear my
is rumbling, so
my heart palpitate. Yeah. Everything in your body, inside your organs, is vibrating. You're like, "Is this good for me?" Yeah, probably not.
No, it wasn't good for us.
Yeah,
no.
But I swear, dude, every person who's in charge of setting up tons of speakers probably already has hearing damage. So when they turn it up, they're like, yeah, that sounds fine, right? You're like, not
right, guys?
Not to people who still have their hearing.
I can tell
intact.
I can tell I'm getting old when I actually was getting mad at how loud it was. Like I actually got mad at the event.
No,
it
wasn't just you, Matt. Like everybody there, as soon as it was over, was just like, "What the heck just happened?" Like,
right,
our ears just got blown out.
This is Battlefield. Like, this is cool, but please, this is too loud.
My hype is fine. It lowered my hype because I was just like, I can't enjoy these trailers right now because it's just exploding. So you still been playing a little BF6? I noticed.
I have been playing more Battlefield. Yep.
How you like?
There was a double XP event this weekend that I participated with, and man, I wish that's just how the game played and progressed. Because I know that they reduced how much XP it takes to get to level 20, and that's all fine and good. But man, there are some attachments where you really got to put in the elbow grease to get. There's like the vector, and that sucker takes, you got to get to like 26, which takes, even with double XP.
Is that for what, the extended mag or the suppressor or something?
And by extended mag, it goes from 17 rounds to 23 rounds.
Yeah.
Like, it is
huge
stupid.
Difference. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you wanted to get go to 27 round magazine, you got to go all the way up to like rank 40 or something, like ridiculous. I'm like, okay,
too much. It's too much.
It's too much. Like, I play games for a living, and I'm like, this is nonsense, Dice. What are you doing? Stop
it sort of forces you to marry yourself to one or two weapon systems, and then you're like, but I like to play with lots of stuff and try different styles of gameplay. And they're like, yeah, well, if you do that, you're not going to get any of the good attachments that actually make the guns really good, you know?
Right. And that's true, I think, for the Vector, because only having 17 rounds, you can take people out, like I was doing well, but you come across two people, you're toast.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't have, unless your aim is just on point, you don't have the rounds to deal with two people.
I would say that's true for most of the weapons, to be honest. Like, maybe not to the extent that the Vector, but
the Vector is an extreme. Yeah. They 100%, I think, go too far with, and this is nitpicky, but I just think the progression doesn't need to be so severe. Yeah. I think people are doing like the math, like you need like 3,500 kills or something like that to get it mastered to rank 50, which is, you know, you're mastering it, but that's so many more kills than I think any other past Battlefield has ever required to get to like all the attachments. It's too much. I think they went overboard. I get it's a live service. They want people engaged in, you know, in the long run, but you're going to discourage people if you make it too much of a mountain to climb.
Yes.
They're going to look at it and be like, no, I'm not climbing that. I'm just, it's too high. I'm going to peace out instead.
Yeah. And that's what I've done to a lot of the guns in the game, to be honest, where I'm like, maybe this gun gets better once I get these attachments, but I'm not willing to use a mediocre gun for 1,000 kills and be like, boy, I hope this gets better.
It gets better.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, maybe. And then it doesn't. You're like, well, that feels bad.
Yeah, that's a huge waste of time. And so they've added the new modes in to like let you grind out against bots to get your attachments, which I talked about this last podcast. I think is kind of insulting. You know, it's sort of a Band-Aid fix. And it's
Band-Aid fix, yeah.
And it's like saying, hey, you want to rank up your guns extra fast? Do this thing that you hate. And you're like, no, I'd rather not. I'd rather just play the multiplayer like I normally do and get my guns ranked up like I've done in every other past Battlefield game, you know? So
slightly change the subject. There was apparently a post that DICE is working on like 7 new game modes. And then a bit of the community is a little upset by that because they're like, just focus on the core ones: Conquest, Obliteration, Escalation, and stuff. And I'm like, you do realize you just included a brand new game mode that's never been added in Battlefield, right? You do realize the hypocrisy of the statement of just focus on the traditional game modes when you just included a new game mode that you never knew you would have liked if they didn't work on other game modes.
Yeah.
No, level cap. No. You can't weasel your way out of this one.
Traditional, yes. Then you're correct. But if they said core game modes, then I would say, like, yeah, whichever modes they decide are the core modes. Do you
see the irony, at least, in
I do.
That?
I do see that. Yeah. But I also understand ultimately the sentiment.
Let me be crystal clear. I also want them to focus on the core game modes. Like I do.
Yeah.
But I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy of the just like you wouldn't know that you didn't like that game mode if it never existed.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have had it because it's I think Escalation actually is a really cool addition to Battlefield. I like the flow of it. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And if they had the mentality of never developing a new game mode because they just need to focus on the core, we wouldn't have Breakthrough. We wouldn't have Rush, right? Rush was back in Bad Company 2. It never existed in the Battlefield franchise until then, right? So I want them to focus on the big ones too, especially when it comes to their maps. Make the maps work for, you know, the ones that it works well for. But I think the idea that they can't work on other game modes at all is just a little preposterous. And we would never know if it would work or not.
Dude, I miss like Frontlines in Battlefield 1 was so good. I missed that. And BF1 had that fantastic. They used the behemoth mechanic in some of those maps really well with like the mega tank, and like getting that extra little bit of pushback if you're getting smashed as a team, and like potentially having a comeback. Like those were some great modes and some great experiences. And then they keep needing to like invent all this new stuff. I'm like, just look at that. That was great. Just add that to this game. Just bring that over.
Maybe they didn't think it was great. Maybe they didn't think it was good.
I don't know. I thought Frontlines was so good, man. It was so much fun. But BF1 was sort of a special thing. It was too good for us, Matt. We didn't deserve it, and then it went away.
Deserve it.
They tried all this crazy.
I do actually agree with the sentiment that they like. I'd rather them focus on, a couple of game modes and not 7. But I'm also rolling my eyes at the notion. Even to keep the Battlefield 1 thing going, BF1 did the same stuff where they added all these throwaway game modes that were populated. I remember needing to record gameplay on these new game modes to like talk about the new content and struggling to get in these modes like a day after they came out. They do feel like a throwaway.
Yeah. And I think that's probably when I started using that term, where I was like, they keep adding all these throwaway game modes into the game because they're literally unplayable days after they come out because nobody is playing them anymore. And so it's like, you spend all this time balancing all these maps for all these modes and getting the flags right and testing them out and make sure it all works. And then they're dead on arrival. And that's what the community wants to avoid. And I'm with it too. Like I think there's smarter ways to spend your like have fun time, right? In terms of like, okay, let's do something fun and new. It doesn't have to be these crappy little game modes. You can really sink that time into a brand new map or a brand new weapon, or going back and refining some of the existing modes and polishing them up and adding a building or removing something on a map where you're like, hey, let's make this better. I'd be more excited about a balance update to an older map than a crappy throwaway game mode, small scale game mode,
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
Yeah, because there are maps in the game where they went, hey, we've been noticing these patterns on like whatever, one of the New York maps or something, and we really don't like the progression between these two buildings, and there's too much cover, and people are sniper overwatching this, and it's bad. So we've made all these big changes to the map. Cool. That's way more exciting to me than...
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I just don't know if the people that are working on game modes are the same people working on maps.
Yeah. I know. It almost feels like
it might be
People.
interchangeable. I don't know, because when you're developing a map, you have to take the game mode into consideration, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true. They're just trying to put their resources out where it makes sense, and they're like, all right, yeah, we can make game modes. These guys need something to do, so they'll just make game modes.
Yeah.
And now we get tons of game modes.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about the idea that Battlefield dropped too much content at once and that they should have spaced it out more?
It does. I think there's some validity to that.
Yeah.
I'm not playing that strike. I played it once. We were playing with, it was whatever, right?
Yeah.
The elimination strike, it was fine. But yeah, Gauntlet and alongside, Gauntlet's fun. That kind of reinforces back to my previous statement. We wouldn't have known Gauntlet would have been fun if they didn't make Gauntlet, right?
Yeah.
But it also came out with RedSec, which is their Battle Royale. And then that also came out with the new map and this, the beginning of the new season. And it was a lot all at once. I don't know if I would argue, it's hard to say, because I don't think it was too much content. Is that was your question? Too much content?
Well, dropped it all at once versus spacing it out more, like, because when it all drops, you're like
all at once.
Okay.
I prefer the Battlefield 4 premium. You get 4 maps all at one time, and not you get a map this month, and then you get a map next month, and then you get another map maybe in 3 months, right?
Right. But at least in BF4, everybody was focused on the same experience together to a degree, where this is like Royale, totally different experience and map, the new oil fields map, and then you got these weird small squad modes or whatever that are happening on the Royale map. And so it's all kind of segmented, right? And people are playing different experiences at the same time versus BF4, which is like, here's 4 brand new maps, have fun, and then everybody's playing the 4 new maps together, you know?
Right. I guess what is the problem with the current system?
It's more of a
because as long as the player base is large enough where you can find games instantly, which has been my
I personally don't have a
experience.
huge issue with it. I just saw some talk about it all dropping at once and that affecting basically the player count, where it saw like a big spike and then people are just like, well, that's the new content, and then it drops versus here's the new battle royale, here's the new map, here's the new thing.
So you're saying we've been kind of conditioned to we just consume everything voraciously for a week and then it's like, well, I'm done now. I'm not, I'm gonna go somewhere else. Yeah. I see what you're saying. So we've been conditioned where we need to have it every. I mean, we are getting a new map in a couple of weeks, aren't we?
I think so.
It comes out on the 18th. Yeah, so like a week from now.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that they are spreading it out.
Yeah. Have you seen the Portal stuff where they're turning the Royale map into Conquest maps?
I have. Have you played it? Because I played one of them and it wasn't.
No.
I didn't think it was very good. I've seen people praising it as it's the best. It's the best map, and I'm like, granted, it's Portal, so it's hard to find a full lobby, right?
Yeah.
Like most of them are, half of it's just bots, but it was a lot of open space, which gives you chance to move, and the phrase that people have been using is it gives you a chance to breathe, and in that case, there's a lot of breathing because there's not really a lot going on. Right? You're just running from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's, there's old Battlefield maps that is just a lot of running, and that there's a player base that enjoys that. I felt like there wasn't enough cover. I felt like it was a lot of, like, the map is balanced for Battle Royale, where, you're going to have to make some treks out in the open, and it's not, it has a different flow.
Yeah, you're running into squads of 4 versus teams of 32.
Right. And you're also you have armor on, and
yes,
like the time to kill is slower because of that. So being out in the open is not great, but it's not just a death sentence, right? Where it would be in the multiplayer. So just having more health changes the dynamic of how a map plays and what cover you need. So I did try it, and I was playing with some buddies, and it wasn't over voice comms, but I noticed them started to dip out halfway through the round. I'm like, I wonder why they're dipping out.
Do you have you been playing much Portal at all, or mostly just the game modes?
I tried a little bit, and I just it's just trying to find the experience is not great. I think there might be like some websites you can go to that makes it easier to find experiences that you're wanting to find, but yeah, I haven't touched it too much.
Yeah. Similar experience every time I open up the browser. I'm like, well, it's all just like Jason's XP farm or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, I'll pass on that. I'm sort of waiting for it to like become that crazy epic thing that we're all excited about, as opposed to like a cool YouTube video from time to time, which I think is what it is now. We're all, and I'm not even talking about my content. I'm talking about, I'll see somebody else's content that's like, look at this crazy mode. And I'm like, okay, that's neat. Am I going to play it? Nah, I'll just play the basic mode that's well polished and well refined or whatever. So yeah, I talked about this a little bit when it kind of was first announced or came out, but I think that the Battlefield platform might not be the right platform for this crazy do anything type experience.
Yeah, because I think Portal has so much potential, but I also think that because you can only add assets to a map, you cannot change the actual map itself. That really limits what people are capable of. Someone made, and also because you are limited on what you can add, that also makes it quite challenging. People have made Metro, and you go inside of the Metro, and it's all the same lighting. Like it's flat. It has no dynamic to it. It looks bad, right? Like we're spoiled, and that's not the. Maybe it's the person who created its fault. Maybe there's some tools that they could have used, but I kind of doubt it. I just don't think the tools are quite yet there.
Yeah. And it's part of that, like probably why it takes so long to make maps, because they're doing special backlighting techniques and all this stuff and things that they can't really expose to the common user, because they're like, yeah, you want to make a map, spend like 3 months getting into all this really complex stuff. So yeah, it's a good point. And I also noticed some of the ways that they're building stuff where it's like, yeah, they could easily make a really badly performing map. And I was seeing people combining so much geometry and like overdraw stuff that would probably never be in a normal map. But yeah, they're limited on tools. They're limited on optimization. I don't know if the servers are still 30 hertz, but that was one of the critiques against Portal 2.
They did say that they were going to be bumping it up to 60, I think.
Yeah. It seems like just making a system where it's like wherever people are playing, just give them the tick rate that they need. Versus
and that might be the thing that Portal hopefully evolves into, is you could have like really hardcore servers that they make a rule set where you're playing on the same maps, right? But they're maybe limiting what cosmetics you can use, right? So they're like the HUD is completely off, but you know that person you're looking at is NATO or Pax Armada because of the visuals, right? So being able to turn that off, and then you can have a hardcore experience because you've curated it, right? That would be cool, but we don't. I think we have the tools for that yet.
Yeah. Maybe they can make front lines in Portal. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool too.
They could. They probably wouldn't be able to add it. It'd be funny if they did some sort of behemoth style mode, but I can't imagine what they would do.
It doesn't help that Portal doesn't give you like the XP. So now everyone wants to progress, and it's like, well, why would I play this Portal mode when I can't get any progression at all? I got a limited time. I do like the multiplayer, and I'd like to experience the Portal experience, but I'm not making any progress. And I think that also plays a role. Yeah.
No, totally fair. And a critique that's been pointed out many times. And you add you add the normal XP in, people use it to farm, and it ruins the progression for people, or it makes the progression sort of meaningless, or it makes it so that you have to do that to progress, to stay competitive or whatever. And then you take away the XP and then nobody plays Portal. So it's just sort of this problem situation that they still haven't figured out how to fix it. And oddly, they didn't really take much of a new approach this time around. The same exact thing in 2042. And then they went, what if we take the exact same approach that we did before? You know, the one that was a disaster. And then they're like, yeah, let's do that again.
I wouldn't say it's as bad as that, but
it's not the exact same. They managed to like change the XP a little differently, but I think it still has the same effect of people not wanting to play it. They're We'll see what happens with it. I hope something crazy can happen, but I have a feeling if it was going to happen, it would have started to happen by now, where somebody makes some crazy new trendy mode that everybody wants to play.
In. Yeah. Also, we are only a month in. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because people have been saying, "Oh, they haven't fixed these issues," and it's been 5-6 months or 5 to 6 weeks. I'm like, 6 weeks, man. It literally came out a month ago. Like October 10th. What do you mean 5-6 weeks? So I think there's some time dilation that I'm just not aware of.
You're not traveling at the same.
Maybe I'm not.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Actually, I'm enjoying the Expanse right now because that's what's going on right now. They're like, what if time wasn't what if the speed of light wasn't a constant and we just screwed up all the time everywhere? I'm like, whoa, things are getting metaphysical crazy now. So it's fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, almost done with this. Soon.
Nice.
Soon. Yeah.
Soon.
Well, you want to wrap up the old Potteroonie?
I'd love to.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thank you so much for dropping by the Level With Me podcast. We post it every Wednesday, provided that there isn't some sort of crazy sponsored video that I got to post instead. And we talk about what? Is
that happening this week or?
No. I have had to do it occasionally in the past. So we post every Wednesday, unless some crazy scheduling conflict with the sponsorship.
Unless Level Cap's getting that sweet, sweet cheddar.
I got to get my money, man. You know, and sometimes they're like, it has to go live on Wednesday. And you're like, come on, man, give me some flexibility here. But no. Nope. Yeah. So thanks for dropping by. If you want to support the podcast further, you can check out our Patreon in the description and watch us live, as some of our Patreon members are doing right now. And then you get to hang out for a post-podcast little chit-chat where I get into the deep mechanics of Formula One with Matimio, and his eyes glaze over, and it's fantastic.
Love it.
Yeah. So I think I'm selling it. I'm selling it, right, Matt?
Yeah. Make sure to subscribe, like, and smash that bell button or something.
You've been off of YouTube too long, man. Yeah, but thank you guys again for dropping by. And like every other week, Matt is going to leave you with some incredibly useful advice.
So my useful advice this week is apparently go listen to Wet Leg. This is a recommendation from Level Cap this time. So you can thank Level Cap for that.
It's the Boomer Audio Hour, where we go, Now this band is a young person. There's young people in it.
There's young folks in this band.
They are young. They're very lively and passionate about what they say. And maybe the fact that I like it means that it's like kind of weird and obscure, but
probably.
Yeah. I think they're
I'll have
solid.
to check them out.
Check them out. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Take care.